think we are probably good to get started. Okay, so I think one of the first things that people asked was just if you could describe a little bit just about like what you do in the program.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm happy to.
Okay.
So, and I was explaining to David, we're a little different than maybe if you've worked with other businesses or that kind of thing. So I work for the Berry Community Foundation, which, if you are not familiar with how a foundation works, essentially we hold a lot of different funds and different nonprofit organizations and anyway, can put their money with us, and then we invest that, and the money that's produced from those investments is used for scholarships and grants and supporting things in the community. So some of the things that we do have our own programs within the foundation, and one of those is this leadership program. So we actually have a leadership fund at the foundation, and it's an endowed fund, which means that there's an amount that's permanently restricted forever, and then the money, we receive a percentage of that every year to do our programming with, and we charge a fee for the program too. But that's kind of our relationship within the broader scope of the foundation.
Okay.
So the program, the leadership program, is similar to other leadership programs throughout the state, which you'll find 9 times out of 10 are associated with the Chamber of Commerce, but ours is not. So that, for a lot of reasons, I think that's a really good thing. But it started first in 1990, and there were a few years that the program didn't happen, but it was under the umbrella of MSU Extension to begin with. And now we came under the foundation in 2008, and so it's been going there since then. And I'm relatively new. I just started there in September, so I've had my first class with the program. So that was January to March, and I brought a schedule to kind of show you the topics. So I'm really excited to work with you guys because I'm still fairly new, and the program has been it's been fine, but it needs to be pumped up.
Yeah.
It needs to be refreshed. It needs to be brought current in a lot of respects.
Sure.
So this is a schedule that has been since, I don't know if you've seen that already, but we're very community leadership focused. So there's a lot of learning about government, courts. We go to Lansing. So that's just kind of how we're weighted. And I don't know, do you want me to kind of take you through what these are, what
absolutely.
these look
Sure.
like? Okay. So the first session is an overnight retreat, and it starts around afternoon on a Friday, and it goes through Saturday afternoon. And the participants don't really know each other. I mean, they might kind of know each other from the community, but it's people from, we have almost 500 alumni now, so it's a range. It could be bankers, it could be, we had 2 sheriff's deputies that were in this last class, insurance folks.
What's the normal age?
So that also varies. Our class this year was skewed a little younger, but it's not unusual to have, and we usually restricted, we had 4 high school students this year, which was the most we've had, but to have a high school student and someone who's retired also. So it can really vary. So there are usually, we had 24 this year, and it varies between about 18 and 22 or so participants. But the idea over the years is that is a good number. When you get much past like that 25, 26, it's hard to have a cohesive group, and
Right.
you kind of have, not really cliques, but just sort of people grouped together, and it's hard to feel like, you're kind of a team.
Right.
So,
yeah.
so that weekend the purpose of that is for the class to get to know each other, to do a lot of team building, a lot of real active kind of up and moving around kind of team building to get comfortable with each other and, kind of loosen up, because at first everybody's like, oh, I don't
Right.
know you, and but by the end everybody is good friends. So then local and state government structure and financing is one of what I'll call a kind of a classroom session. we're at a hospital, but we're in their conference room. So we have and we had a new person this year come in, a professor from Grand Valley that is a Michigan history guy, and he talked all about the history of state government and why we are how we are, why we have townships, why counties are divided how they are. Anyway, so he was really great. And then for the local part, the chair of our county commissioners came in and spoke. Usually it's our county administrator, but he couldn't come this year. And actually it worked out well. So the chair of our the county board of commissioners is on Brian Callie's staff, and so then later I'll tell you about our day in Lansing, but that was kind of a nice tie to tie that in. But anyway, so he talked all about local government and kind of how different things are funded: the sheriff's department, the prosecutor's office, road commission, all that kind of stuff. Then the court system day, that the morning we spend in the courts, and then in the afternoon we're in the jail, and that is a little of it's an intense afternoon. So we so last year actually, and this year too, it was the same way. We had a corrections officer in the class, so he kind of was a class member and he helped kind of guide us through. But
that's good.
Yeah, so we're in the jail, and there's always like the crazy naked guy that's like, so it's a little startling. And then being a small community, one guy was like yelling at our class member, like, Marcy, Marcy. Like, I don't know how he knew her, but yeah, it was intense. And we have lunch at the jail, which we're like, on like rubber trays, and it just like, it was very.
You actually eat like their food or
Yeah. So.
Eye-opening.
It was. And what's interesting, so over the years we haven't had our board of directors I feel like they've kind of gotten out of touch with the program.
Okay.
So this year, because I was new, to kind of help me out so I could experience the program too, a board member would come to each session to revisit it. And so the one who came to that session got very emotional. I mean, she was like kind of tearful and like, this is so overwhelming, and I had no idea. I'm like, well, that's good that you know what we're promoting here. But it's a good learning experience, and we talk with an inmate who's willing to sit down and be vulnerable and talk with us. So that's kind of a long emotional day. But anyway, so then the next session is when we go to Lansing, and everybody goes on a bus together to Lansing, and I know there are a couple other leadership programs that do something similar, but our representative state rep is Julie Callie. So we meet with her and her staff. Her office arranges the day for us, but we watch, a session of the House. We watch a committee conduct business. We go over to, I don't know what the building is called, but there's a lot of offices and like lobbyists and that kind of thing. So we talk with the lobbyist and have lunch there. We get to spend some time because Ben, who's the chair of the commission, like I said, is on Callie's staff. We get to spend time in there in the governor's chambers and, have some one-on-one time with him. So that's good. But that's a very full day. And then social dinner, just a break for people to come and, because by that point you're spending a lot of time together, you're getting kind of close, and people just want some unstructured time to get together. So, and then communications is another sort of classroom day, and that's at my building. And we have a professor, we definitely are going to do something different next year because he's retiring, but he comes and talks about communications. We had a demonstration by our Hastings High School FFA team about parliamentary procedure. So this is how meetings are run. What else? And then Focus on Berry County is a tour on our transit bus, which is like dial-a-ride, kind of bus of the county. And our, our county planner goes with us, and he kind of narrates that tour. And we start at, there's an ethanol plant in the northwest corner, like Lake Odessa. area. So we start up there with a tour of that ethanol plant, and we end up toward the end of the day at the Gilmore Car Museum, which is,
Cool.
you know,
My dad loves that place.
really south. Yeah. So we cover the whole county. We have lunch at Bay Point on Gun Lake.
That's gorgeous.
And yeah, it's a fun day. And this year it was snowing like awful, and
Oh.
so it was kind of a miserable experience to be on the bus. The windows are all foggy. You couldn't really see, you know. But anyway, so that's a physically you go around and see the county. And with the county planner doing that, it's nice because he points things out about infrastructure. He points out things like, you know, this development hasn't had any activity for the last, you know, 6 or 7 years, but now all of a sudden there's a big building boom. He can talk about just all kinds of things. So that's a good day. Another really long day. Diversity. All these I want to say like, and here this needs work and this needs work. But our diversity day is someone from the MSU Extension that comes and does kind of a 2-part thing. Well, first we take a little tour of Mooville. I don't know if you've been to Mooville, but they have cows and they make the ice cream and everything right there.
Okay.
Anyway, it's right there in Nashville, so some people have never been there, and it's just another way to show something in the county. But the diversity part is really a 2-part thing. The first part is on, I would say, more cultural diversity and building cultural competencies and that kind of thing. And the second part focuses more on economic diversity, because Berry County is not very racially diverse. I would say not really terribly culturally diverse. It's pretty homogenous, but we have a lot of economic disparity and differences. So we spend a lot of time on that. And then the last session is again kind of 2 parts. One is National Issues Forum, which is I don't know, they're their own organization, but they put out materials every year. There's a different issue that they focus on, and they have issue guides and that kind of thing. And then we have facilitators that kind of lead a discussion around that topic. And then as an organization, like separately, you can send in questionnaires, and they kind of do, you know, research based on input. But the point of it is to have a discussion that is a topic that's hard to talk about. Like we talked about mental illness, but everybody that has different points of view. The point is to teach how to have those conversations respectfully and you know, productively, instead of just a lot of arguing. And then our graduation is just a little you know, kind of here's your certificate and a little bit ceremonial, nothing real big.
Okay.
But structurally, and there's a lot of things. I don't want to jump way ahead, but
You're
just
good.
so I don't forget anything. We're thinking about changing for next year. The retreat, we've invited to the dinner, we've invited alumni to come back, had a speaker, that kind of thing. But I think next year we're going to flip this, so that really is just the class, and that's it for the weekend, and then make the graduation a bigger deal. Yeah, with you know,
With
our
the alum-
speaker and alumni, a big dinner, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then I know, I mean, I'm sure as your groups get into research and that kind of thing, but other programs do, you know, healthcare day. Like we have nothing in here about healthcare, and that's huge. The hospital, Spectrum, Pennock is one of the biggest employers in our county.
Yeah.
So that needs to be in here somewhere, I think. What else? And all these need to be reworked in some way, but.
I was gonna ask you, what one do you feel is your favorite or the most beneficial, and which one do you feel like needs the most improvement, or you could get rid of or replace?
I think the communications we could get rid of, because it hasn't been.
Do you care if I write it?
No,
Okay.
that's yours.
Okay.
I don't think that I don't feel like we're walking away from that with a lot of practical tools. One of the favorites, I think.
Yes, hold on. He wants to see the sheet. So basically the sheet is just the list of the days and like the full schedule that she gave us. I can probably photocopy it. Is this on the website?
No,
Or-
but,
okay.
mm-mm.
I can copy this and send it out to you guys so you can kind of see what we're looking at when I get home. I think that'd be the easiest way for you guys to see what we're going through. Cool.
And each day, I mean, I don't hand out really detailed agendas just because some people's, personalities are like, well, we're supposed to be here at this time, and
Right.
they get
Right.
nervous if it's not the exact schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But that day, they get, they get a little agenda of what is going on that
Yeah.
day and who
Okay.
presented it, so they can keep it with them. But I think, one of the favorites for sure is Lansing, and I don't know if that's because they feel like they really are learning something, or if it's just, it's really fun and a cool
Yeah.
thing
Right.
to do, and who's been there since they were in like 4th grade,
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's, when I took my trip to Lansing, it was 4th grade.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's a neat opportunity to kind of, see behind the scenes
Mhm.
and,
So that was this session, is that 2? Was it?
4.
4,
Mhm.
okay.
But then the diversity one was really good. I think that one, in particular, is one of my favorites,
Okay.
thinking about what we could do with it,
Right.
what it could become. So.
All right, then do you care if I just go through maybe some of these questions that I
No.
have that we?
Yep.
Okay.
And then when we're done with that, we can come back to this and talk about what you want to change in each one. Like I know you said you were having a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
So, your instructor sent me the list of different teams, your 2
Yes.
teams.
This is us.
Yeah,
Or this
so
one.
should I share with you about our evaluations and how we are doing that now? Like evaluations with the class, or are we
I
gonna
think,
go to that?
Yes, we can. I don't know if that's a question, but yeah, we can do that too.
yeah, I think that might come up later, but why don't we go ahead and start with that and then
Okay.
we'll go on to the questions.
So, we still are very old school, like paper and notebooks, and we're
Mhm.
changing that because it horrifies me to like hand all this paper to people,
Right.
every single week. So, well, instead of binders, I'll have that's my plan, is to have thumb drives for people next year. And then if they want to use it, they can. I mean, they end up carrying these notebooks around and don't do anything with them
Okay.
really.
Mhm.
So the other piece of that then is our surveys, kind of evaluations after every session. We have them fill out, what did you think?
Mm-hmm.
That I would also like to do, maybe like a Survey Monkey or something that they can
So
just
that's all on paper
do
right
on their
now.
phone, and it's,
Yeah.
Okay.
I love SurveyMonkey.
Yeah,
I've
it's
used it,
just,
it's great.
like so easy. So anyway, but the person who was in my position before me did it for, I want to say like 10 years. And she didn't change anything in that time. And so like her reaction sheet, the evaluation for everyone, every session was exactly the same. It was like, what was good, what was bad. It was very
Okay.
generic, very in the same
Not
exact.
tailored to the group.
Right, not tailored to the group, not tailored to the session. So I can't say that we, necessarily have great data on, for the past however many years.
Mm-hmm.
And, this year, I still did paper evaluations, but tried to, for each session, ask different questions, like, how was your knowledge before this, and how
Right.
would you rate it now? I mean, it's still very subjective, but that's one of the things we've been struggling with, and honestly, talking with other leadership directors, everybody struggles with, how do we evaluate the impact? How do we
Yeah.
know that we're
Yeah.
doing a good job and, developing leaders and, actually teaching something?
I mean, he's asked, out of the data, what did you see?
What did we see in terms of learning or that kind of thing? I can tell you, well, let me tell you what I brought a couple sample of the evaluations, and you can get a sense of what the questions were, and you can have these.
Okay.
Let's see, like for instance, the National Issues Forum, where we had the conversation. I asked if they ever participated in this type of forum before. Most said no. I asked if their coworkers they thought would benefit from taking part in something like that. I asked how much, on a scale of 1 to 10, they thought that it would make them more open to considering different viewpoints, and how that activity changed how important it is to talk about these kind of issues with people that might have different viewpoints. So, I mean, there wasn't really a consistent, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's meaningful even, because when people are filling this out, it's like, oh, 6, 4,
Right.
If they really liked the activity and enjoyed it, I think they weighted it higher.
Okay.
If they didn't like it, I think they...
When do you hand these out at the graduation, like at the end?
Every session, there's one for that session that they get right away.
Okay.
And I've encouraged them to take some time and think about it, and then they can get it back to me. So most did it right then, and a couple came in later. And then at the end, I did an overall program evaluation. So it wasn't about content really, it was about things like, how easy do you think it was to apply? What did you think about this time of year? Those kind of questions. How do they want to stay in touch? If they want to stay involved and learn more, have more opportunities like this. So you can have that too. And I'm putting all the results together. I've got most of them done now for our curriculum committee to look over. And so I can send you those too if you want to see. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can read comments. And
Right.
what I did was I have the evaluation, and I just have all the comments under the question, for each one.
Okay.
So there'll be like one document for each session.
Okay.
But yeah, you can have all that.
Again, guys, I'll photocopy these and send them out so you guys can see.
And I can accept too, I think to a big extent, it's hard, this kind of program, I think it's hard to know what impact it is, and we never will have, like, you had a broken bone and then it healed, like, it's not that cut and dry,
Right.
so,
Right.
It's
also like subjective to their experience.
For sure.
sometimes, And yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, what is your short-term plan? Like, so where do you see the program in 5 years?
So, 3 to 5 years, I would like to see the program be more up to date.
Okay.
In
In terms of like surveys, or in terms of just like the experiences in general, or all of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
experiences in general, having the content more relevant to what is actually happening in our county. So manufacturing is a huge part of Berry County.
Okay.
And again, that's not represented on here. I would like to have the kind of program where even people who have gone through, 5 years ago could do it again and have a new experience. Something that references references sort of the, I don't know if the right word is like scholarship or whatever's happening in leadership right now, and connects it to Berry County. So it's not just a tour, like, look at these neat things, and wasn't
Right.
that like a fun series of field trips,
Yeah.
but that gives them tools that they can use in their workplace.
And have you met with the other team yet?
No, I
No?
think we're meeting tomorrow on
Okay.
Skype.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're more of the design and development aspect
Yeah,
of it, so
sure.
I just don't wanna get too far into that
Yeah.
before we go down the wrong.
But more to maybe than your point and what your team is doing, a way that we can measure reactions or responses, so that, obviously those two are really tied, but we can make changes to our program, we can tweak that, and or offer, okay, they felt like they were missing, leadership in, or how to function in changing organizations or something like that. We can offer that as a separate class to
Right.
alumni later on.
Okay.
But a way to, gather good feedback that is useful.
Jesse asked, what age group are we trying to attract? From the instructor's brief, it looks like the program attracts 30 and above. Are you trying to get younger participants?
Not necessarily trying to. We have never had a competitive application. We have just been able to accommodate the number of people, it seems to work out every year. And I don't know if that was because active recruitment kind of stopped when we were full enough. So we tend to attract that about 30 and up, that kind of, I think that's still early career.
Mhm.
And then we almost always have 1 or 2 students that are in it as well.
Okay.
But we're not necessarily tailoring the program to that. It's not a youth leadership experience. It's definitely for people that are, you know, adult
Yeah.
professionals.
Sure. Do you think it would be beneficial to college students to go through this, or maybe like high school seniors?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. And I think for a couple of reasons. One, if you're from Berry County or you work in Berry County,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot that you just don't, that we offer that you don't see of the
Oh,
county. And
yeah.
you're like, I had no idea. Or, you know, you don't know where to go for X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
But also, one of the big values of this that happens somewhat organically is that the class gets to know each other, and then they know, oh, I can call so-and-so because I went through Leadership Berry County with them, or they've met people along the way
It's like networking.
who are associated with the program, very
Yeah.
much so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it's definitely helpful from that perspective too.
Okay.
And then next term, long-term plan.
I don't know what our long-term plan is.
Okay.
I can't say that we specifically have one.
Okay.
I would hope, so one of the things I'm right now in conversation with the county to do some training for their board of commissioners, but also their committees,
Okay.
on how to be, you know, good board members and
Mhm.
how to, not just the running meetings and that kind of thing, but how to have good leadership, have those hard conversations, deal with constituents, you know, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So we're just at the very beginning of fleshing out what that might look like. But those kinds of opportunities, I think, make perfect sense for our program to do,
Right.
because we're developing and gathering all this expertise and knowledge for our program, and we for sure should be a resource that we can link, you know, businesses
Mhm.
to, that we can link government to when they need specialized
Right.
leadership training, because nobody else does that.
Okay.
Okay, the next question is, what is currently your main focus? I think we kind of answered that a little bit. I just want to go ahead and.
Yeah, I mean, our focus right now is on the program. This has been the core of everything that we've done. There's other things that we do have done over the years, like there's a youth leadership weekend that we do. There's so you want to run for public office, kind of a workshop that we've put on over the years. But the program itself is the main focus, and making sure that the curriculum is good.
Does this run once a year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just these first 8 weeks of the year.
Yeah, it's January, like late January through mid-March.
Okay. Okay.
Which the weeks vary a little bit, but maybe this might be a long-term thing, because of the time of year,
Yeah.
we never have accountants, because
Okay.
that's,
Yeah, crunch
you
time.
know, yeah, that
Right.
they can't do any, they can't even like have dinner, so that industry hasn't been involved at all in this, and I've had CPA say, I would love to go through this, because that's a good networking opportunity for sure.
Right.
And then teachers is always tricky, because it's during school, and if there's a way to do something, you know, people say that they like this time of year, so maybe we do another version of it a second time.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
like in
ask,
the
do you think
summer.
it'd be beneficial to do another session of it, or just move it to the summer? Like, is there a reason we do it, that you do it in the first part of the year?
Specifically, I think it just has worked out over the years, because fall is like Christmas and holiday kind of stuff.
Right.
Summer is vacations and people are gone, and it's hard to get that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other programs are ours is one of the shortest ones, maybe the shortest one. A lot of them, and actually I think it wouldn't hurt to extend it, even adding sessions, or you know, extending it a little bit. But a lot of them meet just monthly for 9 months, so it could change. It's- yeah.
Okay.
another one. Okay, the focus of leadership to emphasize on the youth. I think we already covered that about how it's not necessarily tailored towards youth. It's
Right.
just kind of broader.
Mm-hmm.
That question was already answered. What areas do you feel are the weakest?
I think probably the biggest weakness is clearly teaching or providing an opportunity to learn leadership skills that they can transfer back to their workplace.
Okay.
Do you have like an ideal way you could see that working out in the future? Or how would you change it?
I think more intentional time dedicated to that would be good. I don't know if that
Okay.
looks like doing a little bit at each session,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a little capsule that's here's your takeaways from this and how you can apply it.
Right.
I mean, I know when everybody left the jail and was just like,
Right.
you know, I mean, obviously that takes a very specific kind of leadership style to run and work at a corrections facility, but if there's some way, you know, through each of these sessions that we can, like, say, here's your takeaways, or have a discussion, you know, what did you observe here? How does that, is there anything you can, you know, just being more intentional about it,
Right.
maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then, okay, we talked about what area has the biggest need for operational improvement? I think we just talked about like updating it like digitally or
Mhm.
technology. I think
Mhm.
would that, do you think would be the biggest need?
For sure.
Okay.
So ours, because we're within the foundation, it's nice that we don't have to worry about, you know, the accounting piece. We don't have to, a lot of the operations are sort of built in and taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And we can run with how we want to do the applications and that kind of thing. And the more updated we can make it, the better.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Are more than 25 participants a negative aspect towards the program? If so, is this due to lack of funding?
So, when you get more than 25 or that number, it's that I was saying with difficulty
Right.
Mm-hmm.
having some cohesion within the group and everybody feeling like they can get to know each other. Lack of funding is not really an issue because we
Okay.
have an endowment. It's nice. We've got
Right.
enough in reserve that actually we probably haven't been spending enough on getting, you know, facilitators in and that
Mhm.
kind of thing. We've been relying on a lot of the same people that our founder is still on the board, and she, which, you know, has its pros and cons, but a lot of her connections were through MSU were used to kind of staff the facilitating side, and you know they're retiring and they're, you know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so we need to freshen all that up, and it's probably going to cost some money.
Okay. Mhm. Okay, just talked about that. So you don't require any external donation or funding, it's all, you said, endowed to you guys, right?
Right. So we charge $3.95 for the program, which again, compared to other leadership programs, is I want to say we're like the lowest in the state.
Okay.
And that's been a intentional decision not to raise that on the part of the board over the years.
Mhm.
But no, we don't require any other. We have partnerships, you know, with, like, for instance, Pierce Cedar Creek Institute,
Okay.
Mhm.
that doesn't charge us to have people stay out there overnight, which is great.
That's nice.
So we have some good partnerships that let us keep the cost down.
Okay. Mhm. Are there past years or adjacent community insights for the financial aspect that are available as a standard? Which I don't think this impacts you guys because you have that endowment to go towards.
Finances, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the last year I just did our report on the program at our board meeting yesterday, and we netted like $2,000 on the program,
Yeah.
which was great. But again, I mean, I would rather break even, or, you know, even if we have to subsidize a little bit, you know, and that was just because of program fees that we brought in.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have to pull from our, you know,
Yeah.
our endowment and our spendable portion and have awesome facilitators than just, well, that was good,
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
Right.
Right.
so.
Okay, let's actually answer the next question. And the next one. Okay, so according to the survey, wow factor and quality of work, services, and product needs to improve. What would give a wow factor, do you think?
I gotta think about that. I think having one or two really amazing outside facilitators.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you, I'm sure this is true everywhere, I don't know, it's true everywhere I've lived, where it's like if you live within a 50-mile radius or something, you can't, like, nobody's an expert, you have to bring somebody in from the outside.
Right.
That
Right.
people are very reluctant to anybody close by to,
Mhm.
you know, to be the expert. So if we bring in someone that is, you know, maybe that's our speaker at graduation, and we just start to develop that reputation of, you know, that person. The origins were really on the future. It was like leading into the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
so very future focused, future oriented, and that's been lost over the years.
Okay.
So if somehow maybe we can bring that back and people are excited about that, you
Mhm.
know.
Is there like an ideal like facilitator you look for, or just like their experience in general?
Yeah, well, so I don't think that has been really thought a lot about over the years.
Mhm.
So we're just now thinking about that, like who
Okay.
would that be? So there are people that are futurists. I mean, that's their job. And
Mm-hmm.
there's actually a woman who's a futurist for Ford, Cheryl Connolly, and like, oh, she would be awesome. I know she's like tens and tens of thousands of dollars. So, but you know, somebody that does that work, I think would be great
Okay.
to bring in and kind of inspire. And I mean, that's what a big part of leadership is, looking ahead and not just being reactionary, but
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
so.
Then what is your biggest competition?
So I'm not sure that we have any competition for this kind of program. I mean, maybe we do somehow and I just don't know. I think it's more, there are a lot of trainings that are offered in, like through the Chamber of Commerce, you know, about, but they're more business specific.
Mm-hmm.
But probably those kinds of things are the most competition.
Okay.
Even though what we do is different, I don't know how much people distinguish that in their minds. Like, oh, it's another training. Oh, it's another, you know.
Right.
Yeah, like what,
program
like
to
what
go
sets
through.
you guys apart? Like giving them something in their mind that like you want to go to you guys and not
Yeah.
to do some other little one or
Yeah.
really invest in you guys. Mhm.
Right. Or show how they're complementary.
Right.
You know, you might
Mhm.
go to the chamber and learn about how to, you know, do succession planning for your business. Well, we're
Right.
not that's not even our goal to teach you that.
Right.
But you're gonna get all these other skills here.
Mhm.
Okay.
So.
Alright. And then how have you marketed the program in the past?
It's mostly been through word of mouth.
Okay. Is that something you would like to change? Would you guys want to invest more in some sort of marketing of it?
Yes, once we feel like it's all revamped.
Okay,
You know, like
yeah.
we're proud of this, we wanna roll it out, that
Right.
it's, yeah. We, our website is, like, it's just sad and bad and,
Mm-hmm.
so we just met last week with our web developer to
Okay.
kind of freshen that up.
I had written that down. It was I went on the website and I
Yeah, me too.
clicked on like the PDF and like opened up and it was just very
Yeah.
jumbled and kind of hard to look at and it looked like it hadn't been updated since like 2012 I think was the last
Yeah.
post. So
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you if that was something like there's been no activity on it since 2012 or is it just something you guys haven't been focused on?
No, I think, I don't know, I'm gonna like throw the person before me under the bus, but I think that the board wanted to do something with it, like, oh, we should, and then it just never happened.
Okay.
And so
Right.
the role of this director of the program is to, you know, take direction and run with
Mhm.
it, and so I don't know, I don't think it really was run with, but,
Okay.
yeah, but it is happening now, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so how have you seen how the program has impacted Berry County?
So if you look at, like, I don't know, this probably won't mean a whole lot, not knowing the people that are in Berry County, but like our alumni,
Jesse, I'll get to your question at the end here too.
it's created, so we've got, you know, say like 500-ish,
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
maybe 400 some, but lots of alumni, and if you go through, you know, bank CEO and our sheriff and our, you know, elected officials, and that most of them have a connection to the program. They have
Wow.
gone through it, they feel warmly toward it, so I think it's hard to know, and there's one, I don't say old timer on our board, but there's someone who's been on for a long time, and he's like, well, it's all because of Leadership Berry County, you know, and then they're doing these great things, and I don't know, that's kind of a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah.
You know, the program probably attracts people that are a little more naturally inspired to do those things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's created definitely this, you know, a group of alumni that have this common thread and common connection. I don't think that we've done enough to build off of that over the last however many years.
Yeah.
But, so it's definitely, I think, been beneficial to the county to have that common experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know, of leadership,
Yeah.
so.
Do you guys partner with like businesses at all so that they can like you, like a business can send specific people like to you guys?
So there are a number that regularly do, like Hastings City Bank, for instance, is a bigger bank in our county, and they usually send several people through.
Okay.
The Hastings Mutual Insurance usually sends,
Okay.
you know, 1 or 2 people. So there are some that do, but that is one thing you put your finger on. That's good, because we talked about needing to figure out a way to enhance those partnerships,
Mhm.
and not just to continue them sending people, but also maybe to help sponsor and bring in, you know,
Yeah,
some of
that's
these,
what I was thinking.
yeah, these
Mhm.
bigger people that can be inspiring, and yeah.
So how do you gauge your success rate? Would that be mostly like through your alumni and through like the surveys?
I would say I don't think that
Okay.
we really have.
Okay.
I think it's like, look, we graduated this many people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Do you ever contact your alumni like after they graduate to see if your program impacted them in their professional environment at all?
So I 1 or 2 times I think there have been some surveys, but it's been, I don't even know.
Long
Maybe-
time.
I can't even find them. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been told of them, but I don't even know
Sure.
how long it's been.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of the next question. Method for those who've gone through the program, and do you have a survey or way that you can show? Yes. Yes, you do. And
So there's probably a better way, and I don't know kind of the best practice now. That's why I'm eager to hear
Yeah.
what you guys think about that, if it is. I mean, our community still is very small, and it's completely reasonable to do like one-on-one kind of interviews, not with like
Mhm.
400 people, but,
Right.
and some people obviously moved away or died or whatever, but to go and reach out to those key people or key alumni and say,
Sure.
can we talk, and,
Yeah.
you know, get the ball rolling that way.
Do you think it'd be beneficial to send them a survey like, I don't know, six months or a year after they go through the program to see how it impacted them? Would that
Yeah.
help you at all?
I think that would be beneficial.
Okay.
Yep. Has that been done? No.
No.
That would be good.
So that's kind of the next question. Are there creative ways to show the successes of students that have gone through the program? If so, what ways have you done this in the past, and can we improve? Is this a way we can improve upon? I'm assuming yes, since what we just talked about, that would be a good way to reach out later and kind of
Yeah.
see how they've developed and like the strengths they've gained, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And also ways like, what can we do, or can we be of further support?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a way for alumni to contact each other? So let's say like if I went through the program, could I figure out who went through it a year prior and see where they are in the world, or is that not a thing?
So we have the only list that other than our own sort of like internal spreadsheet, everybody has the list of alumni. And then online, I started sort of just gave up because I was doing working on this, and I'm like, we're gonna redo the website anyway, but on our list, just hyperlinking even to their LinkedIn page,
Oh, yeah.
so they can go back and, but there's gotta be a lot of creative ways to group them too, although I don't know, there hasn't been great data on where industries people have come from, but it would be awesome to see, here's all the people in insurance that have gone through it, or banking, and get their
Sure.
experience.
Okay.
So I could see going forward, starting to even group them like that, or there's different ways you can sort by class or by,
Do you guys do ever like a email updates, or do you have like an overall email list, like, hey,
Like a
this is
newsletter or
yeah, like
something?
a newsletter?
So we, I put together a MailChimp, just email list of all of them that I had, and I had tons that bounced back. So I don't think that had been really maintained very well over the years. So we're just trying to rebuild that with good emails, current emails. But yeah, our alumni committee was talking about, even just a quarterly email newsletter thing would be good.
For sure.
I think you could even my mind's just going now, you could highlight people that have gone through the program, and this person, and this is what they're doing now.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with it being such, I live by Berry County, so I understand, it is such a small kind of community. It's one of those people feel like they know everyone kind of thing, so it could be another way to network and create ties between people, so.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a process for choosing leadership participants?
No, so in the past, I think it was just call the director, and she would ask people, hey, do you want to be in it? And they're like, sure, here's the forms. This year, I created an application, but, here's mine. I just filled out in the interest of OCD completeness, but, so I created an application that mainly is just to catch information, so how do they want us to contact them? And then, so we know if they're retired or not, where they work, if they're a student, kind of that. If they have LinkedIn, if they've got Twitter, if they've got, Instagram, if they've whatever. And then I asked them, I never had to do this before, so this, I don't know, just what leadership roles have they held? What is their past leadership training? Why do they want to be in the program? And maybe it's just, my employer sent me. But we should ask them, what do you want to get out of it? So anyway, so that was on there, and then just acknowledging the commitment, and they have to sign it.
Is there any way you could email me one of these
Yeah,
applications?
sure.
Okay.
How many applications do you usually get for each session? Do you have to turn anybody away, or is it usually 25?
It's varied. I would say, so last year's class, 17, I think, had 18 participants, and this year we had 24, including me, 24. It's usually in that range, 18 to 22 participants.
Okay.
And no, we don't ever have to turn anyone away. Maybe someday we'll get to the point where, there's, I hope so. Everybody wants to get in, and sorry, we have to waitlist you, but,
Right.
But no, we've accommodated everybody. I mean, and even I think to the point where, the director was actively recruiting people to, make sure that the class was full. So it's not really a hard sell. The hardest sell is that it's, mandatory sessions. It's the commitment part of it, which I guess I'll get to that with the next group. But you'll see the sessions are all over the board in terms of days and times.
Right.
It's one time could be 4:30 to 8:30, another time could be the whole day, and so
building consistency.
yeah, it's hard to plan when you've got work and kids and other commitments, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure if this has anything to do with our group like definition, but
Yeah.
I know, for example, with Chamber of Commerce, businesses, they usually like advertise that in some way.
Mhm.
Do you think it would be beneficial to your program to have businesses like advertise like, hey, we participate in the leadership program? Do
Yeah.
you think that would help?
I think that it would, and even developing something that people can put on their, email signature or something like a credential, because sometimes people do
Yeah, that's good.
list that on their resume, like I
Mhm.
participated in Leadership Berry
Yeah.
County, but so there's this facilitators group on Facebook I'm part of, and someone mentioned a badging system, like for each session, so after you complete, the government, whatever, you get a little badge, like electronic badge, or,
Oh, okay.
something that you can publicly share that shows
Sure.
I did this, and that's all marketing, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets people to ask, what does that mean? Or like, I know
Sure.
people have like 100 letters after their signature. Like, you always ask like, okay, what does all those stand for? So if you had something like after your name, that would definitely
Right.
build on the word
Yeah.
of mouth thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that businesses as a supporter, or as the ones that have, and I asked our alumni committee, I don't know, about a month ago, to go through that list, because I haven't lived in Berry County long enough to know, but where did this person work? Like, who sent them if it was a business?
Right.
So that we can go back to them and thank them, first of all, for
Mhm.
supporting them,
Mhm.
and once I figure out what all the heck we're doing and is going on, propose something or ask how we could continue to partner.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then what are the technology capabilities like of the people you work with? Like, do you guys have social media? Do you guys have like a photographer that comes with you guys to track everything?
No, so that's really the role of the director,
Okay.
to be at every session, to make sure everything logistically is smooth and
Okay.
happening. And then we have an alumni who she's a good photographer, and she comes to our opening weekend
Okay.
and does a lot of
Okay.
photography for that. I suspect that there in our ranks of alumni are tons of people who are great at lots of things that would be helpful to the program. We just haven't ever tapped them.
Okay.
Would you guys like to someday have some like more social media presence? Do you guys have a LinkedIn page?
We don't have a LinkedIn page for leadership.
Okay.
I did start a Twitter. I opened a Twitter account, whatever, for leadership. But no, we don't have
Okay.
a LinkedIn page.
Facebook page though?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
One of the things with our web update will be integrating our Facebook feed to, with the website.
Yeah.
So at least
Mhm.
that's an easy. If you don't update the website all the time, you can
Right.
keep it
And I
current.
know too, like with pictures too, it's easy if you have like if you have an Instagram account, you can always like get all your Instagram pictures on
yeah.
there too. You can do the same thing.
Mhm.
So
That's a good point. I should do
I think pictures are a big way to draw
Right.
people into something like
Yeah.
this too.
Yeah. Show
Um,
people what you're doing.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's hard to. This is hard to conceptualize what that
Right.
looks like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You might think it's just you're just sitting in a classroom all day or something.
Right.
Right.
It sounds like you're pretty active. Like you're going out and doing things and seeing things, especially like
Mhm.
maybe being more intentional about getting pictures of Berry County and getting people like enticed almost to like see the sites, 'cause
Mhm.
it is pretty.
Mhm.
I've been through there. There's a lot of things to see. Okay, so one of his questions was, are we looking for participants that live or work in Berry County, or do you expand out into nearby counties too?
We would take people that live nearby, and I know over the years there have been a few that do, but by and large, our intention is focusing on
Mostly.
people that live and work in Berry County.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then,
So you don't have to be a resident to get in the program?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
and then his other question was, what are your expectations of us, and what do you hope that we can provide you?
I don't want to say I don't have any expectations, because I don't even know what.
Right.
I would say whatever you can provide
Okay.
is great. I'm open to, any help that we can get, because, like I say, over the years it's been just kind of status quo, and it's been like good enough, and that's what it is. But it needs to be reinvigorated, and we need to know well, I don't know. I would like us to know if we're making a difference.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, I mean, ultimately, I have a lot of nonprofits that will come and ask, hey, is there anybody that went through leadership that would be good for my board?
Mhm.
So if we can fill, you know, agencies, you know, Habitat for
Right.
Humanity and CASA and stuff with graduates of our program, then we'll be a resource, which
Yeah.
hopefully,
For
if
sure.
we're doing a good job of developing leadership skills, then they're ready and eager to go out and
Right.
put those into action.
Okay, and then I just put a couple of communication questions because I'm gonna be probably the main person that's communicating with you. Best way, email?
Email is good if you. So I don't always check my email in the evening.
Okay.
So I think if it's a like immediate question, text is probably best.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if you were okay, because I know you gave me your cell phone number, I just wanna make sure it's
Yeah,
okay if I did
that's-
text you.
Sure.
Okay.
I used to. Well, I'm a lawyer, so I used to practice, and I was like tethered to my email all the time. So now I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, no, I don't do that anymore.
break the tie there.
Yeah, yeah.
Best days and times for you?
Really, whatever is convenient for you guys. I
Okay.
feel like there's one of me, and you know, you guys are
There's 10 of us.
yeah,
Right.
and super busy,
Okay.
so I'm pretty flexible.
I don't know, yeah, my schedule is pretty, I work retail, so my schedule's kind of all over the place, so I can usually find like a morning.
Mhm.
Mornings usually work best for me too, just because I have to drive, so, and
Yeah.
then I don't know what, you live around here.
Yeah, I'm
those-
pretty available right now,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
either way.
So I think we talked, any additional research or resources that you could point us to or provide, so I think definitely I'll email you about the application, getting one of those, because I think that'd be a good thing for us to look at.
Mhm.
Do you know of any like competitors or like programs that we could look at to kind of compare?
So some of the other directors that are in, we actually meet through the State Chamber of Commerce. We meet in Lansing every so often, and the Grand Haven program, their director is very involved and very, you know, she's been doing it a long time. She's really great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's through their Chamber of Commerce. I don't know what their chamber's called, but in the Holland area,
Okay.
they have a good program, and they just keep like upping their fee because it is competitive, and they have a wait list, and but that's a good one. Grand Rapids is interesting. I haven't actually talked to anyone from there yet, but they have a very comprehensive leadership program.
Okay.
Leadership, I want to say it's called Leadership Oakland. So over in the Detroit area is actually a separate 501c3.
Okay.
So they're not underneath a chamber or any other. They're their own organization. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. I've talked with her just like like on a conference call kind of thing, but I haven't spent any time one-on-one with them.
Mhm.
So I don't know. That might be interesting. Then there are other like there used to be, it's on hiatus right now, but a Leadership Michigan program
Mm-hmm.
that was a statewide, and it was, you know, it's a competitive thing, but I think they've been not operational with it the last couple years, but it's in the works to get restarted.
Yeah.
But that's sort of a similar thing, and I know like Leadership Delaware and Leadership, I mean, other states have like statewide. That's kind of interesting. Actually, if you look at Leadership Delaware's Facebook page, they separate their alumni into classes, and they've got like headshots of each one of them and
Okay.
bios, and I like how that's organized.
Okay.
Sure.
So
I know my sister went to a week-long summer camp here in Michigan that was, what's it called? I forget, but it was like a leadership government week-long summer camp, like an
Oh.
overnight thing, and you'd work on making presentations and
Oh,
doing
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I know there is stuff, but,
yeah,
and I don't even think like Kalamazoo has something like this.
yeah, I'm not sure if they do or not.
feel like
I
it's
haven't
like
met
that.
anybody from the area. Yeah. Just think of some of the other. We're one of the longest running ones in the state, though. Maybe the longest running rural program.
Okay.
So we've been around.
I think
Okay.
there's one more question he had asked.
Mhm.
So is there a way we could come up with a survey and send it out to you and have one of your last students fill it out? Maybe something that helps us get a better understanding just about like, is there somebody that you know closely that's done it that would be willing to maybe
Oh, for
fill
sure.
out some information for us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And actually, this last class, maybe I'm just biased because it was like my class, whatever. But they're great, and I like most of them would, I'm sure, be
Okay.
willing to do anything to,
I'll ask.
because they knew this year. I said this is kind of a bear with me year, and I'm new, and we're gonna figure this out together, and
Right.
we're gonna make improvements. But they were great, so.
And I will probably send you like a follow-up email, just of like things we went over and
Sure.
just questions or like former student or applications to kind of go over that.
Yeah.
And if anyone else has additional questions, is it okay if they email you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Do you guys, Jesse, do you have any more questions? Just want to make sure. I don't think so. All right.
Okay. Thank you guys. I'm so excited. Thank you.